thank you guys for being here. Look, I know it's been a long day, and I'm super excited to take everything I've learned and really start applying it now. And so hopefully for me, I want to leave you guys with one monetization tip that will instantly increase your revenues. All right, here we go. So coming up, we're going to show you which A/B test. Now, this is very interactive, all right? I know Rachel told me to keep it at 20, but if you got questions along the way, go ahead and ask, all right? Because this is the last one, and you guys, we're going to show you which paywall won. Have a guess in your mind? You might be surprised by the answer. I'm going to show you what the hell this means. What happened here? We bought this app, we grew it. What happened right here? I'm going to show you the strategy that caused this decline and how simple it was. And lastly, if you love this blink this paywall, I'm going to show you something that's going to even beat it. All right? That's what's in store. You excited? But first, let me tell you a little bit about myself. For those who aren't familiar, I have a YouTube channel, podcast I've been running since 2013. I know I'm old, but I was born in Burma, came to the States when I was just 6 years old. Look, not to get a little philosophical, we go move away from that marketing a little bit. As an immigrant, I was always like trying to assimilate, trying to belong, right? But you know what? I'm claiming it. I was born here. I'm proud to be Burmese American. All right? So it all started here. Started with the mic. I had apps. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know what that journey would look like. So I said, hell, I'm going to learn from the people who have made it, and I'm going to help people learn along the way. So I hit record, and my life completely changed since then. So that was 2013. We now have a team of over 30. A couple of people are here as well. And we work with some of the biggest clients. Some people are here or there, and some of the smallest clients in the world. And we're really trying to focus on like creative marketing strategies, growth hacking for the buzz term. We like to do that. So here's some cool guests that we've had on. Here's some apps. These are just trust symbols. All right. Monetization of apps unlocked. Anybody know that MAU actually stands for mobile apps unlocked? Right? Not monthly active users. The event. All right. So I kind of wanted to go MAU theme as well, AKA MAU. All right. I'm going to skip over this because I think everybody knows this by now. But I wanted, for anybody that's new in the app space, I still have this slide. Yes, I'm not going to make you play, but having your paywall during the onboarding process will instantly 2x your sales. Why, you might ask? Because most people who buy during the onboarding process. That's over 60%. 60 to 80% of all the people who buy before they use your stinking app. It's that simple. So you want to show your paywall during the onboarding process. All right, homepage. The number 2, if I could go back. Number 2, wrong button, is the homepage. So literally 90% of all your conversions are coming from these 2 pages. This is just one app's data, by the way. All right. So homepage. Now let's have some fun. I know it's an old one, so if you already know the answer, raise your hand anyways, because frankly, I see a lot of people, and I want to see a lot of hands. All right, who thinks it's... So look, the only difference is there's a star, there's a crown. Who thinks it's A? Raise your hand, please. Who thinks it's B? Everybody? All right, good. I've shared it too much. All right, 57% increase in conversions. Yes, test that homepage call to action. In fact, I'm going to give you a little bit something different from this. Sometimes the text that you use impacts your trial conversions. So unlock everything versus get pro features. Play around with that text. What we found with other clients is get pro features actually led to higher trial to paid than unlock everything. Unlock everything had higher trial activations, but lower trial to paid. All right. Discounts, back to these numbers. Most people buy before they use your app. Here's why I think discounting is so popular. Think with Google. Obviously, we all know discounting works. I've been guilty of it. I'll pause here. And thank you for yawning. But I had one of your slides, and I want to take a picture, so I'm going to hold if I see cameras. All right, 77%, according to Amplitude. The average app loses 77% of the daily active users within just 3 days. What? I know. 6 days, according to Adjust, before somebody just ultimately says, I'm out. I'm going to leave. That's why I feel like discounting is important. If you're not doing some form of life cycle marketing as well, I think you're missing out. So we all know discounting works. This is, I believe, to be a better way of discounting. We got A, where it just shows 50% off. And we got B, where it says 50% off, but you can also save a little bit more. I think the answer is obvious. Who thinks it's A? I was debating on whether I should ask this or not. Okay, everybody else thinks it's a B? Okay, thanks, Murph. All right, it is B. So pick what you want. Works better than just showing them a discount. You don't want to give them too many options, but you want to give them some options. In fact, it's surprising that you think everybody would just slide, right, and pick the lowest offer. Not the case. This is one of our clients' apps, but it's pretty equal, this special discount. You can see it's not a lot, but it's something. And in fact, if you're not utilizing the App Store Connect win back, especially for you guys who have a brand, right? We're running massive UA campaigns. We actually see for one of our clients, the win back within App Store Connect. Okay, there's a little win back on the left-hand side of App Store Connect. Utilize that. We're actually starting to see some sales coming in. It's not a lot, but it takes you like 5 minutes to get some sales, all right? So here's Headway. This is their paywall. They show a discount right on their homepage. It's 50% off. Again, most people, I talked to Headway, most people are buying this one. But a good number are also buying this one as well. Here's their reading. Now, everything is locked, which, spoiler alert, there's a little thing on there. Locking more content does work. So you pick a book, you hit read or listen, you hit the paywall, you hit view all plans, you see all the plans, you hit X. They're like, wait. Let me hit you with something else. And they give you 70% off. And I talked to Yeva from Headway. She was like, yes, it works. It drives revenue. Yes, it's not a lot, but yes, it still works, right? So let's go to paywalls. Here's the Cal AI. Anybody catch his? Yeah, was it good? Yeah, okay, cool. So one of our clients tested this. Cal AI, I didn't like this paywall as much, this paywall flow, because I thought this was the lead to the Apple subscription. Like, you're going to have to pay, right? So one of our clients thought the same exact thing. So this was his paywall. He then tested A versus B. Now, this is new. Who thinks it's A, that one? Just that one single page with the video. Awesome. Who thinks it's B? Suckers. You think everything's going to be B? It's A. Yeah, in fact, play around with it. So here's the thing that I want you to take away from it. Sometimes videos do work better, right? This is we did a podcast episode about this, but this was his initial paywall, this developer with graphics, illustrations, moved to photos, saw an increase, moved to video, saw even a better increase. So videos on paywall do work pretty well. All right, and here's the stats. I always love to have a chart to make it look like for real. All right, number of plans, 3, according to Dapty and a lot of the partners that 3 is the most popular plans. So I always try to lean with 3, right? As you can see, that slider was 3. Everything works in 3. Okay, so I wanted to test this paywall because I was like, I want to see if I could beat this thing, right? So here's what we did. We all know why it's popular, hopefully. Increase the conversions, increases your complaints about, I forgot to cancel. All right, so when you hit view all plans, all you see is this. So I thought, hey, and one of our clients did exactly that. I thought, hey, instead of calling it view all plans, what if we just showed the monthly price? Functionality is literally the same, right? You still see this, but what if it would do better? All right, you guys are in still pick B. I have this feeling already. So it is B. We saw a 31% improvement. That's why I say 2 plans are better than 1. 3 plans are usually better than 2. Now, every app is different. You're going to be like, that Steve character doesn't know shit. And so it is app dependent, but mostly speaking, yes, this works. Thank you, D-Hop. All right, if you still like that paywall, you're salivating over it, this is the best way to do it now. Concha from our team tested this with one of our apps. I think it works better. Our case study showed that if you're promoting the yearly and most people are buying the yearly, this is probably the best way to go. If you're doing a weekly plan, probably not. All right, so this is the best way. And even if you didn't have this, because you're like, technically, Steve, I can't send a push notification 2 days before their subscription, just leave it out. Just leave it out. Okay, so that's the then. This is the now. All right, this was one of our clients, and I love this case study so much. All right, I love it. So this is a Figma file, but it's a huge client of ours, and they saw there was a 7-day trial on the yearly. Look, I'm not a Figma expert, but there's a 7-day trial. Everybody was buying the yearly. So they said, let's keep it clean. Let's remove the monthly. Sales completely tanked when they removed the monthly. That's why I like options, right? Because the monthly is there to show you how valuable and how cheap and how much discounted your yearly offer is. Again, 3 plans, the most optimal, usually speaking. All right, I love it so much. Here's how I normally do the 3 plans: the cheap plan, the monthly or the weekly. The highest LTV plan, generally going to be your weekly or yearly. One of our, I won't spoil it. All right, and a decoy plan, generally 3 months or 6 months. And that decoy plan is just to be like, there's a book, great book, Predictably Irrational. All right, if you're picking between Rome and Paris, you're like, great cities. But then you see Paris with free breakfast. Then instantly you're like, yo, we're going to the Eiffel Tower. And that's what it is. A, B, and then have an A minus. It will work a bit better. All right, which plan to promote? This is one of our apps. I only have this chart to show you we were driving downloads. Like, it was not, it's not a lot, but we're getting decent downloads organically. Here's what we did. We launched with A. Now the yearly has $50, 7-day trial. The B is defaulted to the weekly with the 3-day trial. All right, ladies and gentlemen, get your hands ready. Put your cameras down. Who thinks it's A? Thank you, brave soul. My man, who thinks it's B? Yeah, it is B. So 3x more sales with B. Here's the original paywall. We only made about, what was this? Man, my old eyes. About $700 with just the yearly offer. Everything was promoted. I'm sorry, $800, right? This was the $200 of the lifetime offer. So when we had this paywall, we only made $800 in the 3 months we launched it. Again, I was getting downloads. People were activating trial. The trial to paid was a very, very low rate. So when we switched it to this paywall, and we need to further optimize this, but it is an AI app. When we switched to this paywall, bang, we just made more money. And look, we made more money on the yearly without the stinking trial. Thank you. It works. So really play around with the paywall. Depending on the nature of your app, weekly might perform well for you. AI apps I've seen work weekly do pretty well. Photo and video do pretty well with weekly plans as well. All right. And Revenue Cat, shout out to them. AI apps do print money. So if you're thinking about an app idea, I'd probably stick with an AI app too. All right. So I went to that chart, hard or soft paywall. The only difference between the two is tiny little X. We saw 2x more sales when we did not have the tiny little X. That was a chart from the beginning. This is what happened. We bought this app. It was making just a few $1,000s a month, just charging $3 one time in-app purchase. New onboarding, increased that price to $60 a year. Instantly, with no new downloads, took it from $1,000 to $2,000 to $8,000 to $10,000 a month. That easy. Then somebody told us, I won't tell you who told us, somebody told us you can't put that X, all right? So I saw instantly sales decline. My mixed panel email, I got an email every day that said it went from 13% trial start to 6. Just that stinking little X did. We're figuring out a way to put the X back, and we went back to 8 to 10. So test a hard paywall, especially if you got a new app and you're trying to test product market fit. Force that decision on them, right? Pay attention to the trial to paid. The trial activations should be close to 10% on a hard paywall. All right, this is Calm. This is my example of saying, look, Calm, yeah, they don't have a hard paywall, but a lot of their content is locked, right? If you're giving away too much, you're not forcing your users to pay. Same with Headway, 1 free daily read. That's it. That's all you get. So if you want to do not as aggressive as a hard paywall, now I do think a hard paywall, probably not a great long-term strategy, right? Probably not a great long-term strategy. But in the early days, when you're trying to go 0 to 1, test it out. Here's some semi-hard paywalls that I want to share with you for those who are like a little bit like queasy about doing that scammy thing. You hit view all plans for this app. I forget what the app was. It's a kid's app. Anyways, you see the plans, and then maybe later, you hit maybe later, you get to the homepage. So that's a semi-hard. It obviously looks like a hard paywall, but not really if you keep tapping around. Here's 0. Big fan of this app. You cannot swipe down. I know it looks like it, but I really like this model too, especially the web to app campaigns. You can probably do a paid trial, new term. So I like this. I haven't tested it myself, but you cannot scroll down. It is a hard paywall. But if you can be patient, 5 minutes later, they did they do send me a text, a little push notification that says, hey, you can start using Zero for free. So these are just examples if you want to not be as aggressive with your hard paywall. All right, I tapped it, magically the X appears, and then I can start using the app and start fasting. And I know you're taking a lot of pictures, so I need your feedback on some of the games I still have, all right? Appreciate you. Content gating, all right? Content gating does work. I'm gonna keep your hands down. It helps. Just gate more content. One of my friends stuck at $8,000 a month, tested long paywalls, tested hard paywalls. He saw a little difference between a hard paywall and locking more content. He's a nice guy, he's British. He's like, all right, I'm just gonna do more locked content. And that's when his sales finally increased and went over the $10,000 a month. So gate more content. The more free stuff you give, you think people are like, oh my gosh, so much free content. I'm gonna be on this app forever. 6 days. Remember, 77% of your average losers are lost in the first 3 days and 6 days before they're out of here. All right, let me show you some more examples. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Keep it short and sweet. Rachel, 3 minutes left. Holla, let's go. Look, if you want to follow our channel, just check us out. We are an app marketing agency, but what I tell everybody is go check out the YouTube. Make sure you like my style first and foremost. And then if you want to work together, go ahead and reach out to us. Otherwise, enjoy the free content. Thank you. Thank you. That's it. All right. Any questions? Ready for the pool? Pool? A or, after party? Who's A? Pool? No? Okay. I'll see you there, David. Who's after party? All right, T-Hop. You're the only one, bro. Enjoy. Anybody else need anything? Amazing. Well, have a great rest of the day. I hope you guys enjoyed MAU. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.